The wholesale landscape has changed in Canada. My name's Andrew, one of the brothers of bargains from Ride Time, and we have breaking news. Cox Automotive has just sold its wholesale division to OPENLANE. OPENLANE, formerly known as ADESA, they have just acquired Manheim in Canada. And what was Manheim owned by? Well, Manheim was owned by Cox Automotive, which is really interesting because a year ago, Cox Automotive had just divested its retail operations to AutoTrader. If we go back in the history of everything, Cox Automotive acquired DealerTrack, and DealerTrack is the portal that communicates back and forth with the lenders. I guess the most important thing is to understand what Cox Automotive is. In the US, Cox Automotive basically is completely vertically integrated in the sale of a vehicle. So they own from titling a vehicle to buying a vehicle wholesale to communicating the portal back and forth with the lenders. That's DealerTrack. They would finance vehicles for dealers. So basically Cox Automotive, from buying a car to selling a car to servicing the customer, they own the entire transaction. In Canada, and this was last year, AutoTrader bought their division. So that meant that they bought DealerTrack, Next Gear Capital, Dealer.com, and VIN Solutions. Well, the really interesting part is they are now actually just shutting down VIN Solutions. What they acquired their entire business, but really their main focus is on DealerTrack. And DealerTrack is, again, the portal that dealers use to communicate with the lenders. And that leads to some really big questions about Cox Automotive because for the most part, their business was very, very profitable. The only part of their business that wasn't profitable in Canada was their DMS. And they actually exited the DMS space probably 5 or 6 years ago. They've gotten rid of their unprofitable part. Everything else was really profitable, but then they decided to sell it to AutoTrader, and AutoTrader wasn't even interested in some of their profitable parts, like VIN Solutions. It really then asks a big question: why did Cox not want to be in Canada anymore? Was it political? This leads to some pretty big questions because car industry has become less competitive. You have AutoTrader, who now owns a big part of the Canadian automotive section. And on the wholesale side, now that Manheim has ceased operations and sold itself to OPENLANE, well, you had two bigger players that in some markets, if I didn't like going to ADESA, I could send my cars to Manheim. Well, now that option is gone. So that's a little bit of a scary proposition for dealers here in Canada because we sure do like our monopolies, and you have two of them now. AutoTrader is definitely a monopoly, and OPENLANE is definitely a monopoly. Truthfully, when competition goes away, everyone suffers. So it's a really interesting wrinkle. It just came out yesterday. I wanted to bring this video out as soon as possible, but again, my name's Andrew, one of the brothers of bargains here from Ride Time, and at Ride Time, we have your ticket to ride.